This jungle was my garden, but with South Florida's best growing season here, I'm bringing it back to life. Hey guys, it's been a minute. Honestly, I let my garden go this summer between the heat, nonstop rain, mosquitoes, travel, and some personal family problems. It just wasn't happening. But I'm back and I'm starting fresh for fall. In this video, I'll show you how I got my garden back and started these veggies from seed for my family and for my gardening students, the little tricks I use to get great germination, and the tools that make it easier so you can get your garden ready for the best growing season here in South Florida or any tropical weather. So it's August and this is what my garden looks like. The cowpeas I planted have basically taken over. There's no walkway in my garden. Been a little nuts. Some radishes look more like beets in there. So that's gonna be nuts. This whole walkway's covered with weeds here and sweet potatoes, Seminole pumpkins. I mean, this has gone nuts. It's been a difficult month for my family. And I pointed out that I hadn't been out here in a month. Look at the papayas. To my niece, and she said that that's not good because this is my grounding. So today, this is gonna be my therapy. And cleaning out the sweet potatoes, I accidentally pulled one out, but it's okay. I have a lot of sweet potatoes in those beds. I was just cleaning out all the greens. Too many greens for us to eat anyway. What happens when you leave your garden for over a month? First it was vacation, so I can't say it was all bad, but later on we had a death in the family that really touched us a lot. And, you know, we let this go, but now we're putting everything back together again. At least we got a potato out of it today. That's our payment. All right, so one of the things I learned, a little shortcut I learned in Costa Rica, my wheelbarrow broke. So over there, to move things, I put it on just plastic tarps instead of lugging on a wheelbarrow. You put it on a plastic tarp and it slides right through the grass. I think that was my favorite shortcut I learned in Finca Tierra in Costa Rica, where I got my permaculture design course certificate. I mean, I learned so much more than that, but this is a good hack. And then you just slide it, it doesn't weigh anything. Look at that. This is a mulch pile we get every so often. We call chip drop. Basically, you go onto the site and chip drop, and you put your address, and if you have space like this, they drop off mulch. So I'm gonna put the mulch on the tarp where I emptied out the stuff I took out just now and carry it back over there. Try to be as efficient as possible. You can also ask landscapers that you see chopping up trees in your area to drop them off, because they have to pay to dump this material, and it's great stuff. So usually you tell them, hey, I have a yard right, nearby, you can just drop it off, but you do have to have an area for them to drop off the whole load. It's usually a big truckload, but then you have free mulch forever. Look at that, I can walk now. Get to my planters. Hello, sweet potatoes. And the Seminole pumpkins, I am gonna let them go a little crazy because that's how they grow best. I am gonna go, my husband, like a month ago, actually mowed this area and mowed over my Seminole pumpkins. But now he knows not to touch those, and I'm just gonna let it go because that's how they grow best. They just spread out. More sweet potatoes over here, but there are some weeds. I'll get those later, not on a rainy day like today. Okay, so it's been raining for, I don't know, a month. We haven't been able to come out here. And today we're finally out again. I think everything I did last time really got covered up. But this is what the garden looks like. It is a bit of a disaster. Turmeric always does well. These peppers are from last season and they've been doing well. These are Communal peppers, actually. You know what? I'm gonna take some of these to cook today. But we got our work cut out for us today. Trying to find the garden. Pulling weeds here on this one, and I realized I forgot an eggplant plant during the, no, it was just so crazy this summer here. Poor thing, and this was a beautiful one. It was gonna be a pretty one. Okay, so if it's not the rain, now we have the sun, but the mosquitoes are what's kicking me out of the garden today. I went to get some mulch for my mulch pile, and they just killed me, even with my little organic bug spray that I use that usually does it. So this is what I have done for today, and I'm calling it quits because I don't think I can get bitten more. I cleaned out this planter, I amended the soil, and I added mulch so that when I start now my fall crops, I can start them off in a good way. Cleaned out all these planters, cleaned out this one right here. Transferred that papaya tree that started growing in the ground in the bucket. I don't know if that'll live. And also pulled out a bunch of cowpeas and cleaned out this area right here. For now, my husband did some of that stuff over there, but he had to leave. And I guess tomorrow, hopefully, after these bug bites go down, we can continue. The cool thing is, let me show you. Even though it was summer crop and I just, put stuff to cover the garden, to cover the beds so they wouldn't get messed up, look what I got. All of these cowpeas that now I have to pull, obviously. That's never fun, but this is free food. I just put mosquitoes. I just put those cowpeas in the ground so that it would cover the beds, protect the soil, fix the nitrogen in those beds. We still have a whole bunch more. I just cleaned out what I had and left the rest in there because I'm not ready to start the fall crops. But I harvested that many. There's a whole bunch more in there, but those will have to wait. Okay, so now that we finally cleaned up the yard, it is time to start planning for the fall season. And I want to see what I'm going to grow. I am going to grow extra stuff because I plan on doing some classes, and I want to be able to gift all the students some plants, some starters. I want to show them how to transplant, how to start from seed, how to fertilize organically. This is a bok choy seed that does really well for me now because I've done it in my house, so it's climatized. So this one, these are seeds from 2004, 24, not 4. And then every year I've been climatizing them. And I gotta tell you, every time I plant these, they all come out. And they're very strong because they've gotten really hardy in here in South Florida. All right, so this is what I picked. And I already started with the little napkins because if you know me, you know that I start tomatoes and peppers and these little paper towels. So I've got some red pepper, Communal pepper. I love Cuban. I still have a whole bunch of Communal pepper in the yard, but I'm going to start some so we can give some away during our classes. Regular organic green peppers. Ajicachucha is a Cuban staple. Here we go. Roma, Sun Gold, and Everglades. Everybody always asks me for Everglades. San Marzano. These I did a lot of canning and sauce making last year with Roma and the San Marzano. Directly into the ground, I'm going to sow some carrots and some organic beets. Those are not going to go in just yet, but I already have it separated. Cucumbers and eggplants are going to be also started. And all of these I'm going to start in little pods. Flowers, I've picked sunflower and French marigold. You have to have some pollinator flowers. We do have a lot of flowers in the yard, but I like to put some fresh flowers in every year. I got a variety of different lettuce, a variety of kale. Last year, this red Russian did really well, and I really enjoyed it. Dinosaur always, that one lasted well into the summer as well. Spinach, South Florida, we don't do well with regular spinach. This year I'm picking some New Zealand spinach. It's very similar to the spinach you buy in the supermarket. It's just a little tougher, a little hardier, but very similar taste. Broccoli does really well. I am gonna buy some broccolini starts from my friends at Tri Amigos because those did amazing, but I am gonna get some broccoli started. Different kinds of cabbage because I like to make sauerkraut. I like the red cabbage as well. Swiss chard does well. Got some rainbow mix. Bok choy. This is the bok choy that I was talking about that does well in our yard. And for herbs, I'm just gonna go with the typical dill because I like to make some Greek stuff. Oregano, basil, and parsley. If you are following along at home, trying to start your veggie garden, basically I use a pen because I used to use a marker, but once I wet these paper towels, the markers would go everywhere. And I used to start putting out the seeds first. And then when I went to spray them, the seeds would go everywhere. So now I spray a little so the seeds will stick when I'm working on them. You live and learn. Because putting all the seeds down into these little paper towels is, you know, time consuming to say the least. So the first thing I do is I spray them down a little so that the seeds stick later. You live and learn. All right, so the first one I'm gonna do is Sun Gold Hybrid. I don't know if you can see these. I usually do heirlooms, but I really, really enjoy the Sun Gold. They're these little like cherry tomatoes that are so delicious. And I know they're hybrid, so that means I have to buy seeds every year. You can't save seeds. You won't get the same thing the next year. But they're so delicious. This is my guilty pleasure. I really love these Sun Gold for salads. And here you go. You see how I go putting them on here? And if I were to spray right afterwards, they would go everywhere. So that's why you do it before. So you kind of space them out. You can be as obsessive compulsive as you want. You can put them in lines, but it doesn't matter as long as they have some space in between them. You're good. So there are all the Sun Golds I'm gonna start. Now all of these won't take, but you know, a lot of them will. And I know that this is a lot. If you're doing this at home, you just need to start like 2 or 3 of these. You really don't need this many. I'm doing them to give away to family, to friends, to a charity that I help out, and also for those students in my class. So now the paper towel dried a little. Let's see if this doesn't knock them out. You see they start moving a little. There we go. Now they got stuck. The idea is to keep them separate. See, some of them flew away anyway. It wasn't enough water anyway. The idea is for them to get very wet. And if you took science class in school, you know, that's all it needs. That to be covered up, you know, and in a warm spot. And because I live in South Florida, that's not hard. I just put them out in my patio table. I fold this up. I leave the name out so I know what the heck it is. And I put this in a bag, a plastic bag, and I put it right out on top of my patio table. Not direct sunlight, obviously. You want it to be covered up. And then what's gonna happen is these things are gonna shoot like a little shoot there. And once they do, you can transplant them into a pot. And we're gonna be doing that in our classes. But this is the beginning, so you see how it all started. I normally fit several in here, so I'll probably put one here and another one, long one here. I'll make it long and put it here so you can just use one bag. And always keep it nice and wet inside. I don't find that I have to spray them that much. They never dry out outside because it's so humid here. But if you are in a dry area, you want to make sure that they stay humid inside. Okay, so this is where I put it, right? See, this is like a rooftop area here. So it's not in direct sun. I put it out here because it's hot. And I used to just leave it here and then I would find it like in the pool when the wind would come. So I use my little planter to hold it down. And that's it. If you feel like it's getting dry, you come in, open it up and spray it and check it every couple of days until you start seeing those little tails. After a couple of days of almost passing out of heat stroke, and with the help of my husband, who's amazing, we managed to find the garden again from the summer monsoons. We have all these spinach here that, you know, are still good. I like to leave these just because It's too much spinach. It's damaged, but these flowers are awesome, and the pollinators like it. Here are the cowpeas, but under control. Look at the walkway appeared. Yay! So we found stuff left over from last season in our garden. These come back year after year, the turmeric plants. They're beautiful. Once they die down, we can dig up the turmeric. I have lots of Communal peppers still working. They're tiny. They're almost like ajicachuchas, or sweet peppers, but they are still working. And if you see, the Seminole pumpkin has gone everywhere. We found it underneath all the sweet potatoes. More peppers over here that made it through the hot summer. And more sweet potatoes. I'm not going to pull up the sweet potatoes yet, just because I'm not ready to plant and I'm starting seeds right now, and I don't want to uncover the beds. But we have to pull those out soon, because they'll start getting either too big or nasty. But we found the garden, the papaya trees. These were planted from seeds, these little papayas. I ate a papaya, and I started some trees, and look, got little flowers already. This one does too. Yay, little future papayas. So we're ready to start the seeds for the next garden. Always have pineapples in there as well. But I'm excited to be able to walk through the veggie garden again and get ready for this next season. Coming into my shed to get the little planters, and yes, there you are. Always some frogs living in here. Sorry, guy. I never like frogs. If you've seen my videos, you know I scream. They love me. They're always in my... All right. Oh, there's another one back there. All right, I'm gonna get these little trays because I'm gonna start seeds. So it's so hot outside, I'm gonna start my seeds in here, then I'll put them outside, but I can't be outside. The mosquitoes are killing me, and it's too hot, so I'll clean up the counter later. I'm starting these bok choy. These are bok choy seeds. You could even see like the little, shells. These are the ones I saved from last season, and they've been climatized in our area. So, I mean, all of these will pop up. I'm putting several seeds in there, but once they grow, I'll separate each plant into another planter. I got my little labels ready, and I'm using Pro Mix. When you start seeds, you should really start with like a clean soil, not full of other stuff. So I have that, and I have all of these to go. I'm starting with bok choy because I love bok choy. Just gonna cover them a little. I don't need much. It's hard to bury them, so I just cover them with a little extra soil. There. I'll wet them well, although the soil is moist already. And all of these will turn into several more. Now, the thing about starting from seed is that every day, especially with these little tiny trays, you gotta go outside and make sure to water them. So it's like having little babies when you start from seed. But imagine all the bok choy. We eat a lot of bok choy in this house, and it does really well here in South Florida. So many Asian stir fries and different dishes and soups that I use them for. So we save a lot of money growing our own bok choy. All right, so there are all the seeds on top of the trays. And I use this technique so I don't, use too many trays. Then what happens is, once they come up, after a while, and they have their true leaves, I can separate all these, and then eventually they go into the ground. So I'm gonna add a layer of soil on top of these to cover them, water them, and put them outside. And there you have it. I watered them, and people ask why I do these in communal pots. And then transplant them. One, because I feel like to germinate, they don't all germinate, and that way I only transplant into another pot what actually worked. And it's a space saving thing because we're still getting some rain here, and I have this little, this was somebody threw out one of those sliding glass doors in our neighborhood, so my husband did this for me. So this will protect it from the rain, and it's small enough to be in this little area. And then I only transplant what works, and then eventually goes into the yard. But for now, this is basically my planting in such a little small area. 2 days later, I have to water these every day, but I'm starting to see some people coming out. Those bok choy plants that I told you about, look at them. 2 days. And basil always pops up fast. All right, well, we have some broccoli coming in. The bok choy is doing fantastic. I'm gonna separate them when they get a little bigger. Basil. The cucumber just went nuts. So I've made a decision. I don't eat this spinach as much. It's really yummy when we do eat it, but it's so much and it's taken over my yard. And I want to start a lot of veggies so I'm gonna pull these out. Mainly, I'll tell you why, and I'll pull one out and I'll show you. This bed has nematodes, and that's how you know it has nematodes, because of all the little balls. And it's got like a lot of nematodes. So I want to treat this bed before I put all the other stuff in it. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to treat it, and I'm going to get rid of all these. Okay, so there I pulled them out. I don't think I'm nuts, but see, look, all of those are nematodes. And what's going to happen is whatever I plant in this bed, even if I leave some of this, if I don't treat it, it's just going to go stunting its growth. So I pulled all these out, and so you don't think I'm nuts. I never planted any of these. This self seeds, and I had kept them because of these beautiful flowers. The pollinators really like them. But this is a lot of real estate to just keep. I did keep these over here. So these are also self-seeded in this area. So I will have some of those beautiful flowers in that garden. And I'll have some of this, it's called Lago spinach, by the way. I'll have some for my salads, but that was way too much. And this whole bed is a lot of real estate. And I have some cucumber I want to start, but if I put anything in this bed right now, the nematodes will get it. So I've made that decision to pull these guys out. Plus it wasn't just nematodes, something else was eating this. So I definitely want to clean this bed. The issue with this bed has been that I just let the Lago spinach be here for too long, and since it self-seeds, it keeps going and going and going, and so the bugs knew it was here. All right, well, the garden is starting to appear again. I'm prepping for the fall. Been working a lot, cleaning out all the beds, and I've left some of the beds already still with like the sweet potatoes because I'm not ready to transplant those. And that bed, as soon as we pull that out, it'll be fine because it'll be full of nitrogen. But there are some beds that I cleaned out, like the one I cleaned out with the spinach, that I'm going to have to amend today. I am going to put some neem oil and some things to take care of those nematodes we saw. But this is the bed. And then I'll add some fresh soil and some amendments, fish fertilizer, some good organic amendments to get it prepped for whatever I'm going to put next. I also have these things going. They're doing really well. Bok choy looking fabulous. That's the bok choy that's been acclimatized in our beds here, so it does really well in my garden. Basil is such an easy. If you haven't ever started anything, start some basil seeds. They immediately pop up and they're so easy to grow. Have some cabbage coming up, broccoli, dill. Let's see what's coming up. Oh, little red cabbage slowly back there. New Zealand spinach. Kale, I love kale. And this is what I'm going to transplant today into one of the beds that is actually already amended, which is my cucumber plants. Look at those. Look how beautiful they are. I am also going to transplant. Let me see if you can see them through here. I think you could actually see them. There you go. Actually, you put them against the sun. Look at that. Those are some tomato seeds that we had started in paper towels, and they've already sprouted. So we're going to transplant those into communal pots. And then when those get a little bigger, then we transfer them into individual pots. All right, those cucumbers are in. I realize I have way too many cucumber plants, and this is more than enough. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transplant these. We had said they were for my class, but I don't think I'm gonna have enough for the class. But I can definitely gift some of these to my siblings. I am one of 5 siblings and we share, and a lot of them are already gardening. So I can, look at that, I can separate these into different pots and then gift them away. Also, my brother-in-law is starting to grow as well. So there you go, they get cucumbers. You want to start your seeds with like clean mix, sterilized stuff. You don't want to use compost or any of that stuff because you want it to be nice and clean to give it a good fresh start. You can add, which I'm going to do, I'm going to add some fish fertilizer and some organic powdered fertilizer to each of these so that they have a good start. I'm also going to spray that over there on the roots of the ones that I transplanted onto my beds. But to give these a good chance, we're going to do that. So if you've seen some of my videos, you know that I look for the Omri logo. Where's the Omri logo here? There you go. Make sure that whatever fertilizer I'm using is organic. And I dust a little bit on each of these little planters. Just a little bit. If you come to my classes, you know we do this. Just a little bit of this, just to give it a little start. And then, be glad it's not smell-o-vision, because what we do is we add some water that has a little bit of fish fertilizer in it. So smelly. You know, I've had this spill on me before. Woo, so lovely. All right. And then I'm gonna mix this up with my trusty forks. I have these forks here, just sitting here all the time. I'm gonna mix these up well, and I'll show you what I do afterwards. So basically I just stir, make sure that it's everywhere. Oops, I'm spilling some stuff. So it's not like right on the roots, you want it all over. So it just goes grabbing slowly and releasing all the, there you go, fertilizer as you need it. You want to mix it up well. And let me just show you real quick. You pull these out and you go separating them gently. Separate the roots, pull them apart. There's one. Gently you pull them apart. 2, look at that one. There. And then you make a big hole in the middle here. Let's see if I can show you. Make a big hole in the middle. You bury that sucker right there and you cover it up. And there you have it, all the cucumber plants transplanted. Okay, so I started, I did the same thing with these pots where I filled them up. I put some fertilizer, some fish fertilizer on them, cleaned them up. And now I'm gonna transplant the little seeds that I started in these little paper towels. Here, let me see if I work better with my right hand, because I'm a righty anyway. And what you're looking for, let me see. What you're looking for is this. See, I can put it in the sun there for you. You're looking for the seeds that already have sprouted. So that way, like, you're not gonna waste your time on these seeds. And that's why I do communal. And we're gonna put all of these in a communal pot right now. And when they get bigger, then we separate them like we just separated the cucumber. And then we have tons of plants. So this is a jicachucha. This is a sweet pepper. It's small and it's sweet. And I'm married to a Cuban, and the Cubans use it in their black beans and a lot of their food. And it's absolutely delicious. It changes the flavor of a dish, like your black beans with a jicachucha taste amazing. So I have 2 pots for that because I kind of just eyeballed. I think I would have like 2 different ones. So I have 2 pots for a jicachucha. Here we go. What you want to do is you want to just separate them in there. I used to have some tweezers, but I'll go sticking them in afterwards. I just try to, let me see if I can show you how I pull them, because they'll be like stuck on the paper towel and you don't want to rip them. I may go inside and get some tweezers, but there you go. See, little, see, I don't know if you can see. Hey, baby. And you want to space them out so later it's easier when they grow bigger. It's easier to separate them. The roots won't get stuck together. All right, I'm gonna keep going on doing those, but I want to show you how I do these. You basically make a little small hole. Ooh, so hard to work with one hand. Stick the little root inside. And there you go. So I don't know if you can see that one. You're gonna do that with all of these. You know, when you have things that look like this, on a side note, you wonder, okay, so what do I bury? So that white stuff is the root. And even though you see the seed on top, I don't know if you notice, like when things pop up, they usually pop up with their seeds. Let me see if I can find you like a regular one. See, like here, the eggplant. See the seed is on the top? So here, you're gonna bury the white part, and even if you have the little seed on top, that's the top part of the plant right there. You see it? That's the top part, and then this is the seed. So this is what you're burying. It's the root that you're burying, and you leave the other part out. And there you have those two. Now we just gotta transplant all of these. But in a couple of days, you're gonna see these. I mean, honestly, tomorrow they'll be perking up already. It's incredible how nature works. These are all the sun golds that came out. And tomorrow, and what I did was I used this little, I used to have a little tool, I don't know where it went, things get lost in this yard, but I just use a toothpick to put them in. So let's do the same thing with aroma so you see what I'm doing. I showed you already that the green goes up and the white goes down. Let's find one that's easier so you can see it. Okay, so there's the root, and there's the, and you come over here, let's see if you can, with the hole, I don't know if you can see it. You open it up and you stick it in. And there it is. So it's easy that way with a little, don't squeeze it too hard, and don't, so you don't damage the root. But you just pop it on there, and you make, it's hard with the phone in the way here. Make a little hole. Sorry, I'm kicking you out of the way, huh? Okay. Make a little hole, stick it in there, and you bury the root. Leave the other green part out. Very gently. Tomorrow that thing will pop up by itself. And that's how we get all of these in. So now we're gonna do all of these. These are Roma tomatoes. These did really well, and I have some video there of what I did with them. I made some tomato sauce for the family. And last night we actually just ate the last bit of frozen tomato sauce from last year's Roma and San Marzano tomatoes. So we need to grow these quickly. All right, and that's it for today because it is so hot outside. But you have the transplanted ajica chucha, sun gold tomatoes, Roma, some red peppers. Those were just little seeds that had sprouted. Stuck them in there and covered them up a little. Brandywine tomatoes and San Marzano. And calling it a day. All right, it's the day after I transplanted all those little seedlings into their own communal pots. Let me show you. It's incredible how fast they pop up. Look at them popping up. Look how beautiful they are. They're already like little babies. So you see how fast they go. These were seeds still. They have a little tail, so these might take a little longer. But all the ones that were already popped up. So pretty impressive. They're the cucumbers in their own spots. And the thing about it is, now these are your babies, officially your babies. Just like a child, you gotta take extra care of them because they can dry up really quick. So you really need to be watering them. If it's very hot, you could water them in the morning, and then at night, definitely want to make sure that they don't dry up because now they're basically little babies. All right, so I'm going to take care of some insects that I have and some bugs that I have in a bed. I'm going to treat that bed before I add some more soil and amendments for the next season. It's a bed that, as you saw in this video, I let it to nature and it just went crazy. So I'm adding some water with some neem oil and some insecticidal soap. I'll show you which ones I use next if you want. These are the two that I use. You can also, depending on what you have in your beds, I don't know what you're dealing with, but I use some BT every now and then. And I also use some diatomaceous earth also for some of the bugs. So check what you have and see what you need to use it. But all of these are very safe for the gardens. And there you have it. I'm ready to start my fall garden in a few weeks when the weather gets better. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. That way my videos make it into your feed and we can grow together. Also in the comments, tell me, what are you planting this season? I'd love to get ideas and share tips with you all. Happy gardening.